All right, guys, and welcome back to the Deep Threads podcast. It is better if I have a mic in front of me.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just giving you guys a head.
Echo.
Oh, we have a. Probably should mute my TV. Wrong TV.
Whoops.
Day 1, week 1,
Technical difficulties.
NFL. No echo. Echo's gone. All right, yeah. Nope. We just got all monetization taken off, which we didn't have in the first place. And I forgot to put a green screen up there, so just pay no attention to the green floating thing right behind me. It's day 1.
Sloppy. It's
all right, guys. Welcome back to this week 1. We're going to go over the recap in the NFL. We're not going to do the breakdown like we did last year. We don't have Bo's efficient writing in hand for us, although I thought about having him do a video and doing a short for everybody because I think that'd be fun to put that on the channel.
Fat guy in a little coat.
That's not nice. But that being said, I guess what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into it today. As always, you have me, KJ, here on the mic, and then you have my wonderful co-host, Wheels.
Hey guys. After week 1, how are you feeling about your teams?
And not so good. All right, so we're going to jump into this. I think it's in alphabetical order by home team. So that would mean we are going to go Carolina at Atlanta. So I wrote some things down. Let's go for it. Bryce Young not looking good against the okay defense, going 20 for 38, 146 yards, 1 TD and interception. I mean, we kind of called Bryce Young. Yeah. No standouts in this offense outside of Hayden Hurst and Miles Sanders doing what was expected of both of them. Chuba Hubbard going for 60 yards on 9 carries, which is phenomenal for him.
It's going to be a long year for Carolina.
And that was kind of it right there. That's kind of all I saw for them. Then going over to Atlanta, second year Desmond Ridder, game manager. I mean, 15 for 18, 115 yards, touchdown, 0 INTs. So, I mean, bright spot, Bijan Robinson.
Was out carried by Tyler Algier.
Well, yeah, but in the receiving game, he was 6 for 6, 27 yards, but he did only have 10 carries for 56 yards. That's still 5.6 yards per carry. While Tyler Algier, like you were saying, 15 carries for 75 yards. So
it seems that Bijan's going to be more your Austin Eckler type of guy.
And then we can also talk about Drake London, second year.
Who played 90% of the snaps in every third down and only had 1 target and no receptions. Hey, I mean, me and him had the same stats this weekend, so I feel pretty good about myself right now.
You didn't get a target.
I mean, depend. I could have got targeted. My wife sometimes targets.
Were you the guy that got targeted when Joe Burrow threw the ball to the sideline?
Maybe.
But
I'm over here.
Sorry, we have a sound buttons, but he doesn't do any of that anymore. Yeah. So that being said, in that game, that is the Atlanta-Carolina game, was there any injuries going into that game?
Jace Horn hamstring did not return. So, I mean, there was a lot of soft tissue and hamstring injuries this week. Like you said, there's a lot of guys that come in this week with it's a new season, so a lot of these guys, they're getting back into the role of it. I mean, there's going to be a lot of soft tissue.
First day running full speed.
Yeah. Yeah, but Jace Horn, cornerback, he's hamstring injury.
He's second year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because J.C. Horn was a rookie last year.
And I think he missed some time last year, too, with an injury.
Yep. Is that it on that game?
Yeah, it was all.
All right, so
for that game.
Before we move on from this game, I called this, just an FYI, for all of you guys out there, a small sleeper in this team, Atlanta, was Mac Hollins. He's the number 2. I think he was the highest scoring receiver on that team.
Nico Collins, you mean?
No, Mac Hollins.
Oh, Mac Hollins. Oh.
Nico is on a different team.
Oh, you're talking about for Carolina? Right?
Atlanta. Mac Hollins is the second wide receiver for Atlanta. See, this is the problem. People don't pay attention.
Who?
So, Mac Hollins, I actually called this.
Didn't he play for
in one of my YouTube
Raiders?
Shorts?
I think he played for the Raiders last year.
I don't know if it was the Raiders or somebody else.
He had a couple good games for the Raiders last year.
So he's a guy I'd probably look at a little bit deeper in your rosters if you guys need someone to start in a flex spot for a bye week or something like that.
Dynasty leagues, you can pick him up and guy to stash.
Yeah. So I actually had my wife pick him up in Dynasty and stash him.
Yeah, I think he played for the Raiders, but yeah,
that's why I wanted to put that one out there for Mac Hollins as a guy I'd probably take a look at. I didn't see anything else over there.
No, there wasn't a lot in that game. That was it was a rough game to watch.
All right, we're going to go on to the second game, and this was, by the way, the score of that game was 10-24. Atlanta won it. Second game was the Houston Texans at the Baltimore Ravens. That game was 9-25. Baltimore took this one away. On the bright side, C.J. Stroud looked pretty impressive, threw the ball a ton. Didn't throw a single interception in 44 attempts with 28 completions, 242 yards. Team didn't score a touchdown in this game, but Nico Collins and Robert Woods seemed to produce double-digit targets each. So both those guys, like 22, 23 targets between those two guys. So that's, again, fantasy purposes. These guys might not be guys even rostered. You might want to pick them up because there's volume. There's volume. And it looks like Dameon Pierce did not have a good game when I remember looking at the stats. I think he had like 48 yards on like 10 carries.
It definitely seems like it's going to be a heavy passing offense.
Yep. So just giving you guys a heads up on that one. Baltimore going right over to... huge upside for Houston. Baltimore struggled in that first half because Will Anderson was in Lamar Jackson's face. Just giving you guys a heads up on that one. And that secondary is pretty darn good. So moving on to Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, after signing his mid-level deal with the Ravens, couldn't put the ball in the end zone in the air or on the ground.
Excuse me?
He had to hand it to J.K. Dobbins, who is now out for the season.
Blew his freaking Achilles.
I'm not trying to laugh at this. God bless J.K. Dobbins. I know he's struggling.
Poor kid.
Third stringer Justice Hill got 2 touchdowns, though.
Yeah. And then I think...
Which means those points were just sitting in la-la land for everybody's fantasy team because there's nobody that started Justice Hill over Gus or J.K. Dobbins unless you have ridiculously depth in your roster and you've been playing Dynasty for 22 years. Because someone probably has a bad team. That's the point.
Yeah.
The Ravens may be for the first time in 3 years averaging less than 4 yards a carry for the entire team. I think they averaged 3.74 yards per carry. Now on the plus side, Zay Flowers, shine 9 for 10 for 78 yards. Probably had the best rookie day for performance for rookie wide receivers. Odell stayed healthy, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 37 yards. Rashad Bateman also stayed healthy, 3 for 3 and 35 yards. So on the plus side, you get to see Lamar throw the ball a lot this year. Just giving you guys a... outside of the J.K. Dobbins injury, you said, was there any other injuries in that game?
There's 3 other injuries. So obviously, J.K. torn Achilles out for the season. Tyler Linderbaum, ankle sprain. He is week to week, along with...
Wait, Linderbaum, their center? Wow.
Along with Ronnie Stanley, their tackle.
Stanley's back on the injury. Hey, we know how you feel in Cleveland. We'll get to that one later.
Week to week. And now you have Marcus Williams with a pec injury who is going to miss a decent
amount of time. Was that the corner?
Corner at secondary, yeah.
Okay, so defensive back. All right.
Yeah, and then, let's go to Cleveland.
There's no Houston injuries? Houston looked pretty healthy?
I don't see any Houston injuries on the...
All right.
Nope, no Houston injuries. Sorry,
okay.
Ravens.
All right. I mean, the Ravens obviously didn't beat them up that much. They just didn't let them score a touchdown. All right, we'll move on.
There was. I'm sorry, I didn't scroll down. Offensive tackle George Fant shoulder, D tackle Hassan Ridgeway calf, and Jalen Petrie has a bruised lung.
Ooh, that might not be good because Petrie's their safety.
Yeah, Petrie's their safety.
So,
was he drafted
2 years ago? Yeah, so that one might be that could be a little struggle. I don't know who their upcoming schedule looks like, but that could be a struggle for that secondary. But Houston's defense is legit. Just giving you guys a heads up on that one. Moving on, we're gonna go to the third home team. The Cincinnati. I was doing like alphabet in my head. Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. And that game was 3-24. Cleveland won that game. Now, let me get into this real quick because I'm not going to try to be a homer. I'm just going to insult both teams, okay? Joe Cool was like ice on Sunday. He was horrible. The worst quarterback performance of his career, throwing 14 for 31 for 82 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Joe Mixon also had 13 carries for 56 yards. That's about it for their offense. Their defense didn't play bad, getting 2 takeaways from the Browns. Deshaun Watson didn't play too much better. That sounds weird when I say it and type it.
Didn't play much better.
He didn't play much better, but he didn't play too much better also. He didn't play much better also. That's probably how I should say it. Going 16 for 29, 1 TD, 1 interception, but he had 5 rushes for 45 yards alongside Chubb, who had 18 carries for 106 yards, 4 receptions for 21 yards, and the Browns defense also held the Bengals to just 1 field goal.
He also had a rushing touchdown.
Chubb did not have a touchdown.
No.
Oh, yeah, Deshaun Watson had a rushing touchdown. Correct, yeah. Yeah, so technically Deshaun Watson did put 2 touchdowns up there because he had the throw to Harrison Bryant, who got the touchdown, and then... Yeah, and that was garbage time touchdown, to be honest. It was the end of the game.
I was really happy they went for 2. Kevin Stefanski is like, yeah, how does this feel?
Here's what I will say, though, because this is a stat that matters in Cleveland. All extra points were made and all field goals were made
Yeah, we
for the
have
Cleveland
a kicker.
Browns.
We have
I no longer stressed after the second field goal. Yes, I was feeling way better. You'd have to turn up the volume on the noise pad. It's the one with the squares. Yeah, because when you hit it, it was lower than both of us.
Fuck me.
See the difference?
There we go.
All right.
Sorry.
He just wanted to say the F word without saying the F word. All right, so moving on from the Cleveland game. Oh, by the way,
Injuries. Jack Cox.
Cleveland's first in the division.
Didn't it?
Just kidding. The Ravens won.
Sorry, we'll be
We're
first after this
tied.
week when we smoke Seattle.
Or
Or not Seattle, the Steelers.
We tied with the Ravens.
That's not saying much now, is it? So,
It's 1 week. Let me enjoy it.
Yeah,
All right.
for injuries
All
for
right.
the Browns, there was no injuries for the Bengals, but the Browns, Jack Hacklin, ACL, MCL, done for the season. In the last 3 years, the guy's only played 22 games, so injury bug has been him multiple years. He just signed a contract, but he will miss
Sound
out.
like a 4-year extension.
Yeah, he will miss out on nearly $1 million in game active bonuses.
I'm glad you brought that up because this happened in the game. DeJuan Jones, obviously 6th-round draft pick. We called him. We said he was one of the best tackles, right
we
tackles
liked
coming
him
off the
early,
board.
too, which was surprising.
He went in the 6th round, and it was funny because the announcers even said this. You know what I'm loving is I'm not hearing anything about DeJuan Jones, which means when you don't hear anything about a tackle,
You're doing your job.
You're doing your job.
Exactly.
And he didn't give up any sacks. I don't even know if he gave up pressure from that side.
I think he gave up one pressure early. I think it was the first snap. I don't know if they counted it as a pressure.
I would say he got rid of the
beat.
ball.
Yeah, he got beat, so I don't know how they... I'll be honest.
I'd have to look at it.
When
It's
comes to
next-gen
those-
stats.
Yeah, when it comes to next-gen stats, I'm a little bit unnerved when it comes to pressures because I really don't know how they rule pressures.
All right, 100%. we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to the
Jags.
Jacksonville at Indianapolis. That game was 31-21. Jags won that game away. T-Law had a great day, going 24 for 32, 241, 2 TDs, 1 interception. ETN also showed his ability to read the field on a 22-yard touchdown. ETN had 104 all-purpose yards, which is a great day and a great outing for ETN. Calvin Ridley's debut since 2021 went 8 for 11, 101 yards, and a touchdown. Solid day for Calvin Ridley, which I think a lot of people kind of expected that. But they do have Butterfingers over there. Thankfully, they didn't lose all 4 fumbles they had. T-Law got to keep hold of the ball, man.
Reminds me of Daniel Jones early on.
They're not looking good on the protecting the ball situation. That being said, the defense kind of I didn't see much out of their defense, to be honest with you.
So I think they had the 8th best defense, maybe last year.
Yeah, well, it's
fantasy wise.
I was gonna say maybe takeaways, but look who they're playing. They're playing younger quarterbacks.
Yeah, and just Calvin really proved me wrong in week 1. I figured Christian Kirk would have a big week, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, the Colts definitely. Anthony Richardson will go to him now.
Yeah, we'll jump into that. I just want to see something real quick, see if any's been in the chat. Nope. Okay. All right. Anthony Richardson NFL debut was probably the best of his class, going 24 for 37, 223 yards, touchdown, 1 interception, also rushed for a TD. The defense also scored a touchdown, but in the end, they still struggled, missing the running game with Jonathan Taylor. Deion Jackson fumbled twice and lost it. Jake Funk had 2 carries for 10 yards, and Evan Hall got injured on his first play. Also, Anthony Richardson left the game early due to an undisclosed injury. Do we have that injury?
Anthony Richardson has a bruised knee.
Oh, God.
So he's week to week.
Yep.
Which is huge for a rookie quarterback. Because
Gardner Minshew.
Now you're going to have that in the back of your head. For the Jags, you have Brandon Schaefer, ankle, who's a guard. And then also, Evan Hall, you mentioned him. He has an injury, his knee.
One carry, bro. One carry, and he's out.
I drafted him. He was the last pick.
And I have Jonathan Taylor, and I drafted him.
See you later.
All right, we'll move on from here. We'll go to the Tampa Bay at Minnesota. And the Bucs won this one 20-17 away. Mayfield looked rough in the first half, but squeaked out with thanks to a solid defensive performance. He went 21 for 34 with 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Rashad White and Sean Tucker struggled moving the ball downfield, combining for 53 yards on 22 carries. Mike Evans and Trey Palmer got the TDs in this game. And Mike Evans, 66 yards closer to 1,000, which makes all of us feel better. Oh, come on, Baker. Put him there.
I really want Mike Evans to get another.
I know, we're all excited.
We're
also all rooting for Baker because Baker's been through hell and back on many different teams.
You showed a tweet before the show. Are Browns fans rooting for
That was
Baker?
from the Clevelander.
Yeah, so it was from the Clevelander. So I am what of sort would be called a Baker hater when he was here, which I was. I understand he won his playoff game, but I'm not going to root for a kid to do bad when he goes to a new team. I'm going to root
for success for everybody in the NFL.
I don't want anybody to do bad.
I don't even root for a bad year for Lamar. I'm just a realist about running quarterbacks. Like Anthony Richardson took like 12 big hits.
And now he has a bruised knee.
And now he's got a bruised knee and he's out.
And he's bigger than Lamar.
He's like 240. He's like Derrick Henry size.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, but so, I mean, Baker, I definitely think the Buccaneers can possibly make a playoff berth or a wild card berth. That wouldn't surprise me because that division isn't necessarily that good.
Atlanta barely squeaked by a win too, 24-10.
And the defense was a really helped out Baker on the other side. I mean,
well, they have one of the better safeties in the league in Antoine Winfield. So, and they still have a stout defensive front. And to be honest, Baker's being protected. So once he gets a little bit of chemistry in these games, I think Baker be fine. And he also played a high flying offense, which I brought that up to you earlier, didn't I say? Oh no, so they had like 366 yards, I think.
I mean, but so this is the thing real quick, just one more thing about Baker. Baker thrives I think he's going to thrive in a Todd Bowles offense with those receivers because he's got guys that can fly to the ball. Yeah. And you have two good running backs. I mean, Sean
Kirk
Tucker,
Cousins.
Rashad.
Oh, I was getting onto that one. We didn't even finish that side. Oh, that's why. Yeah. So let me move on to Minnesota before I go too far. This one isn't with Kirk. God, I was overdoing this. This one isn't on Kirk. Wait, no, actually it is. He turned the ball over 3 times in the game. He had an impressive stat line outside of that, going 33 for 44, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception.
And a fumble.
2 fumbles.
Well, were they both lost?
Yes. He turned the ball over 3 times in this game. Yeah. Did you hear me? Did you read it and hear me? I wrote this and you don't listen.
You didn't have the stats in there.
Madison was not impressive on his takeover for running back role, only gaining 34 yards on 11 carries. But JJ has always got his. 9 for 12 for 150. At this point, he might go down as the greatest of all time. Chill, people.
So,
Jordan Addison, his NFL debut wasn't bad, catching 3 for 4 for 10 yards and for 1 TD. Minnesota struggled defensively and didn't seem to be disciplined enough in this game, having a lot of penalties. The JJ thing, man, he's pissed. I don't blame him.
But so, did you see something that we also mentioned before the season?
What?
About him possibly losing targets to Addison?
He didn't.
I mean, he
had 12 targets. 150 yards.
Okay. But 3 for 4. Addison wasn't bad.
No, Addison, I think, was just on, like, short routes. He was actually more an end zone guy.
He was more underneath JJ.
Yeah, so, I mean, and Hawkinson, I don't think had a bad day either. No. TJ had...
Madison had a good game.
TJ Hawkinson had 8 for 9 for 35 yards. So, I mean, when you look at the PPR-wise, Hawkinson actually did produce pretty well. KJ Osborne didn't do too much difference, 3 for 31. Josh Oliver, 3 for 32. So, I mean, a lot of people got targeted. KJ Osborne got targeted 6 times. And then Hawk got targeted 9. That's where most of the targets went, which we kind of knew that. I mean, we knew KJ was going to be the 3 behind Addison, but we knew that he was going to have more chemistry. So it's going to take probably 3 to 4 weeks before those targets start flipping.
Yeah, I think Addison's going to average about 6 targets.
6 to 9 targets a game, and I see then it'll flip for KJ Osborne. He'll probably be somewhere around 3 to 6 per game. So
and then TJ's going to get, I think,
TJ will stay consistent somewhere around anywhere from 7 to 10.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely there's 44 passes. Kirk's going to consistently throw the ball. It's another heavy offense or heavy throwing offense. But injury-wise, the Buccaneers, Kalijah Kancey has a calf injury. Lavonte David was evaluated for a concussion but was later returned to the game. Vikings center Garrett Bradbury has a back injury. He left the game. Vikings offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw left with an ankle injury but returned later.
Yeah, they made a big mistake. They might actually pay Jonathan Taylor. They need a running back. If Madison cannot do better than what that stat line was, which was like 53 yards on 11 carries or something like that. Actually, it might have been less than that.
They might go for
I think it
TJ?
34
JJ?
yards on 11 carries. They need a running back. And getting rid of McBride and some things in the offseason, which we did not understand.
The McBride made no sense. You weren't paying him anything.
Yeah, it didn't.
I understand, but you never signed JJ, so I can understand maybe if you were signing JJ and you needed to free up just a little bit more money. But I don't even know who their backup is. I don't even know if they have a backup.
I knew you were going to ask the question.
I don't know because outside of Madison.
So they had Ty Chandler's their backup, and he only had 3 carries, so they only ran the ball 14 times.
Which is not like the Vikings. So the Vikings with Cook would run about
25 30 times a game. Yep. So they became very one-dimensional in this game, which is probably part of the reason why they lost, because all the Bucs had to do with one of the best safeties in the league is keep them out of the end zone. Yeah, it's really all they had to do. But we'll move on from here. We'll go on to the Tennessee at the Saints, and the Saints took this game 15-16. For some reason, I wrote down 16-17, but it's a 1-point differential. The Saints won that game, but Tannehill struggled also as much as Kirk in this game, giving the ball away 3 times in the air. He went 16 for 34 for 198, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Henry got his as always, running 15 for 63 yards, receiving 2 for 56. So, I mean, when you look at that, he's looking at 119 all-purpose yards. But for the first time since Henry has been healthy, he saw a snap reduction with those snaps going to the rookie Tyjae Spears. He carried the ball 3 times for 27 yards. And what was it? It was 54% for Tyjae snap percentage, and I think it was 48% for Derrick Henry.
Yeah, but Tyjae played 90% of the snaps in every third down.
And then he played all third downs. He didn't play 90% of the snaps. He played 54 snap percentage. 54 was his snap percentage.
But I'm confusing.
But 100% of his third downs, or it might have been 90% of third downs.
A lot of people are going to be like, oh, they don't believe in Derrick Henry. That's not it at all. That's not it. They're just trying to keep Derrick Henry healthy. But another question I have is, I'm surprised that they didn't throw Will Levis in with how bad Ryan Tannehill played.
Yeah, I think, again, this is, you don't throw Will Levis in because you draft him in the second round. This is one of those situations where you take Levis and you go, hey, don't do this. And then you point out what not to do. Because to be honest with you, I didn't, that's the one thing I didn't look at, which I need to look at right now. The stats for the Tennessee Titans, DeAndre Hopkins, 7 for 65 on 13 targets. Westbrook-Akine, which I keep telling people Westbrook's the number 2, and a lot of people don't like me for saying that. And then 18 yards for Treylon Burks on 3 targets. So, as much as people hate me for saying this, like, they're not bad at receiver. Right now, I think they're struggling with accuracy downfield.
Yeah, so do you think that Will Levis will start at all at any point this season, or do you think they're just going to...
If this happens for 2 more weeks...
They will?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, at week 4... It's going to be the same situation as the Colts with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, and the injuries...
We're not winning. No. Just go. I don't need to deal with this. I think this is Tannehill's last year under contract.
I think we all said that. I think it's the writing on the wall. He's getting older. He's not...
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think he's like 34 years old.
It's just...
Like I think him and Kirk might have came in around the same time.
Yeah, but Tannehill's never been the best guy when he went to places. When he was with Miami... He was good enough. Then you came to Tennessee, and he was better. But
I would compare Tannehill to an Andy Dalton. He's good enough to get you to the playoffs, but I just don't know if he can win the game for you.
Yeah. I mean,
unless it's the Ravens.
Him and Kirk are in similar company, but I would hold Kirk to a higher esteem by
Kirk's way better than Tannehill.
Okay, I was trying to play.
No, Kirk Cousins is way better than Tannehill.
Because Kirk Cousins is a top.
I mean, they both just turned the ball over multiple times. That might be the only comparison. Yeah. But Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback. But that being said, we did say the Saints won this game.
Yeah, the Saints
so won. Derek Carr went 23 for 33 for 305, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, which that's about the stat line I kind of expected when he went there. Jamal Williams, 18 carries for 45 yards. We all knew Jamal's not that guy. Jamal's the guy on the goal line. Jamal's the guy on 3rd and 4th down.
He's
not that guy.
Touchdown ball hawk.
But Chris Olave was very productive, 8 for 10 targets, 112 yards.
And then you had...
Michael Thomas also went 5 Michael Thomas played a game, guys. I don't even want to give a stat line.
He didn't hurt his toe.
Because he double digits in fantasy points.
11.5, I think.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. But either way, Michael Thomas played a game.
I drafted him.
So that being said, Rashid Shaheed had a phenomenal day. He's the third wide receiver on that depth chart. He went 5 for 6, 89 yards, and a touchdown. And I think he was the only touchdown in this game.
Yes, he was.
Because I think Tennessee had 5 field goals. And yeah, Rashid Shaheed was the only touchdown in this game. And it was a pretty good touchdown. I enjoyed watching that one.
But so injury-wise for the Saints, you have DN Peyton Turner, who has turf toe that will need surgery, which is bad. So he's probably out for, I would say, what?
That's not. I mean, I don't know if that'll hurt their defense too bad, but I think he's a pretty decent guy. He
6
does
to 8
put
weeks, I would consider turf toe after surgery. I mean, that's minimum. I don't know. So turf toe
they need Kamara back, by the way.
Yeah.
That run game's missing Kamara.
Yeah, that turf toe is a tricky beast because a lot of guys don't understand really what turf toe is. And it's something that you don't. I mean, you saw Michael Thomas for 2 years almost dealt with it. It's nothing easy to maintain.
If you guys can see the way I rolled my eyes at wheels just now,
the fact you have to get surgery,
he just said we saw Michael Thomas out for 2 years with turf toe. We know why Michael Thomas was out.
He's a bitch.
No, he didn't want to play with those quarterbacks, and they didn't want to win games. So he said, "I'm just sitting out. I'll take a pay cut."
I'm trying to make it interesting. Come on now.
That's not interesting. That's a pathetic try. Is that the only injuries, though? Is that defensive end?
That's the only injury was DN Peyton Turner.
All right.
So will require surgery.
So we will move on from here, and we will jump to the most exciting game of the week because the highest paid defensive end in the league actually played in this game with 0 practice, but did his
job.
Yep, did his job. The worst quarterback drafted in the NFL last year actually had a pretty good day.
He looked better than Ryan Tannehill.
Pretty good game manager. Brock Purdy went 19 for 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But before I get to that, they won this game 30-7 over the Steelers. San Francisco over the Steelers 30-7. Who expected this? All right, this really isn't much to talk about. What we will tell you is CMC is back to his original form, 22 carries for 152 yards and a touchdown, averaging 6.91 yards per carry. Didn't do much in the pass game, which is unlike him, 3 for 17. So that was kind of rare. We also had Brandon Ayuk.
Wide receiver 1.
Finally looking like what he was supposed to look like before he got paid. And that is 8 receptions on 8 targets for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. This might have been the best performance of the day outside of JJ, but I don't think JJ had a touchdown. It went to Addison, right?
No, I
don't know if JJ had a touchdown.
think he did because he had 28.
28 points would be the receptions and the targets the yards.
He just had that.
Yeah. So I don't think he had a touchdown, but I could be wrong. I didn't list it off.
No, he didn't have a touchdown. You're right. Yeah.
So, but that being said, Kittle also played in this game, 3 for 19 in receiving. I'm not sure what really happened there. I think they just kind of avoided throwing the ball to Kittle because the Steelers do have a pretty decent secondary. So, I mean, I think Kittle got the ball in the middle of the field and ran upfield, and that was kind of all what he did is underneath. But it's early in the season, and I know they don't want to get Kittle injured if they're dominating in the game, and that defense did dominate in this game. Brock Purdy did have some problems. He fumbled the ball twice, lost one of them, and CMC also fumbled the ball. But it seems if you actually look at every team this week, there was a lot of turnovers this week. It is week 1 of football. Now, moving on to the Steelers. Kenny Pickett.
Did you know you have a game? Did you know you had a game yesterday, Kenny?
Yeah. Statistically, Kenny knew he had a game. He just forgot that there was a defense.
And which team he played for, maybe?
Yeah, he definitely thrown to the wrong team. Kenny Pickett went 31 for 46, which is not a bad stat line. 232 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. That might be the issue right there is what he did with the interceptions, especially because you're playing against one of the best defenses in the league. You can't turn the ball over because you're only going to have so many opportunities. Najee struggled, but only having 6 carries for 31 yards. 5.1 yards per 7, or 5.17 yards per carry is not bad. But I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to run the ball. A-Rob was their number one receiver. Shocker. Deontay Johnson, you got that one. Calvin Austin, hey, 6 for 37. I've been harassing the kid all year, and, he actually caught all of his targets. We'll see what happens. George Pickens, 5 for 36. I don't know. Everybody got the ball on that offense. This was one of the weird days. The only person that got the touchdown was the tight end, thank goodness. That Freiermuth got that touchdown. You know who didn't get the ball? Darnell Washington.
Who we said that isn't going to be a...
He's going to be a blocking tight end. I keep saying this.
Yeah, and everybody was hyping him up this offseason, saying how he's going to be a huge red zone.
But I will say, is Freiermuth okay?
Freiermuth has a chest injury. That's all I have seen on him. There has been no update.
Because that dude got sandwiched like there was no tomorrow.
I'm thinking he has bruised ribs.
Keep that in mind, people, because Darnell might be coming out now.
So there's also 2 more injuries.
Go for it. What do you got?
The Steelers, I'm sorry. You have Deontay Johnson, who has a hamstring injury, and you mentioned this before the show. Cam Hayward is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks
with
a groin injury.
Surgery. He's having surgery on his groin.
He tore it.
So that's going to be a fun one for them because they kind of need Hayward.
Yeah, considering
don't they play the Bengals next week?
No, they play the Browns.
Oh, we play them next week?
Monday night.
Oh yeah, I told my dad. They're going. He said he thinks he's going to that game, and I go, you do know the Browns are going to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. He goes, I don't think that's going to happen. I go, bro, nothing against the Steelers
Kenny.
are bad. No, the Steelers are bad.
I like Kenny, but I was hyping him up before the draft. I liked him. He was my favorite one getting drafted. I never even really looked at Brock Purdy, but he just it looks like he took a step back. And they added pieces to that offense.
First things first. If you are going to go into the Browns without a run game,
good luck.
Good luck.
Because
the secondary is solid.
You saw that this week, and I understand the weather played a factor in it, but guess what? Those receivers.
Here's the question. Here's the question. Who's got the better receiving core?
You know what the longest reception for? They had no
5 yards.
They had no yak yards at all.
Wow, are you serious? They did tackle. They did tackle very well.
The longest reception was 12 yards to Jamar Chase.
All right, we'll move on from here. I apologize. I know I get stuck in the AFC North sometimes, but my dad had to bring this up, and he thinks the Browns are going to lose, and I think the Browns are going to go 3-1 the first 4 weeks. So that being said, I'll move on to the next game. This is the Arizona Cardinals in Washington. At the start of this game, I heard a funny joke, and this was actually at the halftime when Arizona was up 16 to 14. And they said, Arizona's tanking. Did anybody tell the defense? Because the defense had a pick 6 in that game. Or a fumble for a touchdown. So I thought that was pretty funny. But on the day, Josh Dobbs, 21 for 30. That's pretty good. 132 yards, so obviously they're all checkdowns. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. James Conner, 14 for 62, 4.43 yards per carry. Rondale Moore had an okay day, 3 for 33. It's a lot of threes for Rondale Moore.
3 for 3.
He was their number one receiver, which is weird. Marquise Brown had 5 targets for 3 receptions, 28 yards. That was it, man. No receiver had over 50 yards.
It was a very rough game to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these week 1 games are just... It's week 1.
Not this fucking bad. These were all bad.
Yeah, I mean, there was 6 bad games this week.
It doesn't help that 5 teams are tanking this year for 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, Caleb.
So, there's 3 quarterbacks coming to this draft. They're all like, pick
Ewers.
me. So then we move on to Washington, who did win this game, barely. Sam Howell actually didn't have a bad day for his opening debut. 19 for 31, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That's an okay stat line. Brian Robinson, a lot of people were expecting more out of him in this game. 19 carries for 59 yards. I know that's a struggle for anybody that had Brian Robinson. Curtis Samuel was the number 1 receiver, which is ridiculous. 5 receptions. 5 receptions for 54 yards. And then you got Scary Terry at 2 receptions for 31 yards. You're probably just benching Terry until you figure out how this offense is going to play.
Yeah, I would not be starting Terry.
Jahan Dotson is the number 2 receiver, 5 for 40. So this is a very weird Very weird offense.
It seems like Sam Howell is throwing to anybody that's open, and he is not.
Isn't that what a quarterback's supposed to do? Did you say that just to be like Captain Obvious?
Ask Jamar Chase. I don't know.
But you know what we will say? Let's move on to the fun game of the week because...
the Jets and Bills?
No, Green Bay doesn't suck.
Who said that the Jordan Love wasn't going to be as bad as people realized, and he was going to be decent.
All right, whatever. I'm not giving this dude a bigger head than he already did. But we all did say... So this, to me, is the third and fourth place team in this division. Yeah. Now, maybe not after the way Minnesota played. I'm just going to throw that one out there. But
there's no for sure's in football.
So Jordan Love was I'm not going to call him a game manager because he threw the ball downfield.
He was an above average quarterback for this week.
Yeah, I think so. I think Baker Mayfield stats rookie year. Yeah. I think he played very well and protected the ball. So 15 for 27, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That's not bad.
He took care of that ball, and I understand. And people are hyping up Justin Fields, and Justin Fields looked bad. I mean, he did look bad.
I mean, I don't know if he looked bad or if it's just mediocre receivers. It's him and DJ Moore. That's it.
You still have what?
But Aaron Jones got 9 for 41 in this game, and I know he had 2 receptions for 86 yards. He was the number 1 receiver on this team. Now, obviously, that's a lot of yak. So I don't know if I could say Jordan Love had that great of a day because take away the Aaron Jones yards, and what does that do?
But he was also without Christian Watson, who was your downfield guy.
He is. Luke Musgrave, great debut for a tight end. 3 for 50 on 4 targets.
You said we don't really see many of those, so that is very telling of what he can possibly do in this offense.
Yep. Romeo Doubs got the touchdowns, which a lot of people were ecstatic about that are Green Bay fans, that Doubs got a dub.
Doubs got a dub. You know what you didn't hear this weekend? Pick at the Pickens.
Hey. Dude, stop it.
Fuck me.
Stop it. Then moving on to the Bears, Justin Fields, 24 for 37, 216, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was their leading rusher with 9 carries, 59 yards.
Yeah, because that running game is awful.
No, actually, that running game started good.
Outside of Roschon Johnson, but they weren't giving him enough. They didn't really start giving him carries until the second half, which made no sense.
Roschon Johnson, 5 for 20, 1 touchdown. What did I say? What did I say about Roschon? 3rd and 4th downs.
He's gonna
the end zone.
Yeah.
He's the guy they're going to go after when they need the yards. The dude's a monster. I think he's 6'1", 6'2", 230.
He's a bowling ball back.
Yep. Yeah, it is funny, though, that Deontay Foreman got 5 carries, 16 yards. Roschon, 5 for 20. Khalil, 9 for 27, which Khalil started off hot. Yeah. I was watching that game, and then
Roschon essentially just took over the carry.
It was really weird.
But it seems like, they're going to use... Deontay and Khalil to get down to the
I don't know, man. Roschon's there too.
I hope
6 receptions for 35 yards. Khalil Herbert, 3 receptions for 37 yards.
A lot of these
Roschon actually got targeted more. He got 7 targets.
Yeah. A lot of these rookie running backs look good. Like we said, running backs are a dime a dozen. I mean, you had quite a few of them look
Guys,
good.
You deserve to get paid just for 3 years.
And after that,
you better come into the league making $30 million. If not,
bye-bye.
Don't sign your rookie contracts, running backs. But that being said, Green Bay destroyed Chicago 38-20.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, that was unexpected for me. I expected a lot closer of a game. I expected somewhere around 24-21, 24-23.
I figured it'd be a much closer game, but that game, outside of the scoring, that game was very lopsided.
Green Bay's defense was solid.
They stood up.
They shut down Chicago, but we don't know if it's because Chicago's that bad.
Or if just Green Bay's defense is that good.
Yep.
So, I mean, who does Green
We need
Bay?
to see these two teams play other teams because we don't know this week.
Because we're really not going to give anybody a very big amount of hype until 3 or 4 weeks consistently. Now, if Jordan Love can do this for a couple weeks and consistently do it,
I don't
give him some props.
I
just don't know.
I don't think this was Jordan Love. I think this was an Aaron Jones game. And what are the injuries in this game?
Injuries, you obviously have Aaron Jones, who had a hamstring injury. You had Christian Watson, who was out of the game.
And we did say this. I apologize. We did say this. Didn't we say that A.J. Dillon is looking like the 3rd running back on this roster? Patrick Taylor, is that who it was?
I think. And then Quay Walker sustained a head injury that was evaluated for a concussion, and he didn't return. So he will probably he's most likely going to be put into concussion protocol, which there was quite a few concussions this week.
I lied. A.J. Dillon had 13 rushes for 19 yards. That is god-awful.
He just didn't rush good.
That is god-awful.
So that was at 1.2
Patrick Taylor had
yards per
5
carry.
rushes for 22 yards.
5 rushes.
5 for 22. That's 4.4.
I'll take that over A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon, he's been there. He's been behind Aaron Jones for a couple years. He came in after Jamal Williams left, and he's kind of been the number 2. But I just feel like,
I think they got lucky with Aaron Jones. I think they're struggling.
Well, he was a 6th.
They had Cheeseburger Eddie and then Aaron Jones.
Eddie,
Cheeseburger Eddie, then Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I forgot about Eddie Lacy.
So let's move on to the next game. Now, this game was kind of a fun one to pay attention to. You had the Raiders at the Denver Broncos. The Raiders win this game.
Surprisingly, I mean,
I don't know if it's surprising. I think the Raiders have a better
quarterback.
I have no idea. I think both these teams are very equally matched. So that being said, it's 17-16.
It's going to be a long season.
So these two are going to struggle a little bit. But Jimmy G, 20 for 26, the ultimate game manager, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an INT.
He also left for a concussion evaluation, but came back in.
All right, Jimmy G knows how to get injured week 1. Who would have thought Jimmy Garoppolo got injured? That being said, Josh Jacobs had a rough day after his paycheck, 19 for 48. Jimmy Garoppolo almost had as many yards per carry as he did, 9 for 11. That's how bad they both were.
And then Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers, the game of the day, right?
Until he got blown up in concussion with a flag play and left the game.
So now Jacoby's injured too?
Yeah, Jacoby.
God, it's contagious on that team.
Injured too.
It's contagious on that team. 9 for 81, 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams actually was the second best receiver in this game, 6 for 66 for 9 targets. Josh Jacobs, all-purpose yards was 71 yards. So not a good day for Josh Jacobs after getting paid. Zamir White got 1 touch on the ball, 2 touches. I lied. He got a reception and a rush. Please put Zamir in. Just put some pressure and some fire under Jacobs.
There was a lot of injuries in this game.
Okay, go for it. What do we got for injuries?
So obviously we had the Jimmy G concussion returned later. You had the Jacoby Myers injury did not return, who is now in concussion protocol. You have safety Trayvon Mooring, who broke his thumb.
I thought you were going to say leg. I was like, what the hell?
Broke his thumb but never returned. And then you had Caden Stearns was carted off the field with a leg injury, and he is out for the season with a torn patella tendon. And Greg Dulcich left the game with a hamstring injury. Or Dulcich, yeah.
Dulcich.
I'm not good at pronunciations. I need some Hooked on Phonics. Sponsor me.
Well, at least say Dulcich. So moving on to Denver, since Dulcich got injured, Russell Wilson, 27 for 34, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He only threw to the running back. That's what I'm getting from that stat line.
Oh, Russell Wilson? Yeah,
27 for 177 yards.
Jerry Jeudy was also.
That's less than 10 yards of reception.
Russell Wilson doesn't look good.
All right, Javonte Williams had a decent day, 13 for 52, averaging 4 yards per carry. Samaje Perine had a better day, 8 for 41, 5.13 yards per carry. Samaje also had 4 receptions for 37 yards. Looks like he might be the number 1.
Could be. They also said
limiting snap counts for Javonte.
I didn't see anything about their rookie, though. They said they were going to involve this rookie guy.
Jaleel McLaughlin had 1 reception for -7 yards.
Did he have a carry?
He had no carries.
Yeah, Sean Payton was like, we're going to include him a lot into this weekend's game.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
He had 1 reception. I don't know.
Jerry Jeudy was ruled out before the game, right? Cortland Sutton, 4 for 32. Actually, nobody got over 40 yards in receptions.
Did Marvin Mims get any receptions? The rookie?
Samaje Perine was the number 1 receiver, okay?
4?
Marvin Mims was 2 for 9.
Oh, God.
Little Jordan Humphrey was the one that got the touchdown.
That dude's like 5'9".
Is he really?
I think Jordan Humphrey.
His name's Lil Jordan Humphrey. He's 6'4".
Oh, I thought you said. No, I'm thinking of freaking Hasty.
Oh, Jermichael Hasty.
Jamaica Hasty.
Little Jordan Humphrey. 5'9".
I didn't know.
That was ridiculous.
Name was actual Little Jordan. I thought you were just saying.
I have now seen 2 teams where the receivers have not gotten over 50 yards. Any of them.
So
everybody's trying to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
is not working in that division at least.
Oh my God!
And
All
the
right,
Raiders won that game. Which was
we got 2 more
surprising.
games to move on to. We have the Miami Dolphins at the LA Chargers. This one was a high flying game. Miami took this game 36-34 in LA. So first things first, Tua's back. And then Tyreek Hill's back.
And
he slapped nobody in this game, I promise you.
and he didn't do the claw hands, so he's good.
Well, if he does a claw hand, someo's probably going to assault his ass because they're going to think they're going to get hit.
And Michael Williams.
So Tua went 28 for 45, 466 yards,
Gee.
3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Straight.
Tyreek Hill had 11 receptions on 15 targets, which is pretty good. 215 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. He had like
I
30.
guarantee he has a hip injury in week 11 again. You can't run that much and expect not to get hurt. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when you have 466 yards and one guy has 215, that's not all in the air. A lot of that's probably yak. I would love to see the yards after catch on him. Jalen Waddle also had 4 receptions for 78 yards. Durham Smythe, who we kind of harassed a little bit last year, had 3 receptions for 44 yards, and then Braxton Berrios 3 for 42. Outside of that, it was a little bit of everybody. Raheem Mostert had an okay day, 10 for 37, 3.7 yards per carry, and that is really it. They ran the ball a total of 15 times with Eric Ezukanma, Salvin Ahmed, and Raheem Mostert, and then Tua had 5 carries. So that was 20 total carries with Tua.
That's crazy.
That's bad.
And then, so Michael Williams actually had a head injury, concussion, left the game.
He did have, okay, because I asked you if he did get injured because I saw something about that. So Mike Williams did get injured. Moving on to that, this is probably the best running back performance outside of Christian McCaffrey. You had Justin Herbert, 23 for 33, 228 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So kind of almost a perfect day if he would just make more completions. Austin Eckler, 16 carries for 117 yards and 1 touchdown, and 4 receptions for 47 yards. So Austin Eckler had about 160 yards. But I will say before I go any further, Keenan Allen was the best receiver on that team, 76 yards. Everybody else was under 50. This game was hilarious. We looked at the total yards earlier. So the receiving yards for Miami was 536. Oh, no, the total yards for Miami was 536. Total for the Chargers was 433. And the rushing yards for the Chargers was 234 yards, which was number 1 this week in rushing yards per game. So might want to keep an eye out on that backfield for the Chargers.
Joshua
because
Kelly had 91.
Joshua Kelly had 91 yards on 16 carries. So they actually ran the ball more than they threw the ball in this game. Because Justin Herbert had 5 rushes, Keenan Allen had 2 rushes, and Gerald Everett had 1 rush.
Yeah.
So
Rookie wide receiver Quentin Johnston did not look good. 2 receptions for 9 yards. So I don't know if that's maybe him just.
it's only on 3 targets. It might have just been the availability that he had. It might not have been.
Yeah.
A lot of these young guys,
But,
they have to figure out how to get open. They don't just run their route. They got to figure out how to get open.
It's not like riding a bike coming from college to the NFL. There's definitely a big step. So maybe if Mike Williams misses this week with a concussion, we could definitely see him maybe get into his own role.
We could see a lot more QJ this week. I agree with that. Moving on, we got the Philadelphia Eagles 25 over the New England Patriots 20, and I will argue with my cousin all day that you don't start Mac Jones over Danny Dimes, but unfortunately, Mac Jones had a great day against the Philadelphia Eagles, but they lost. Philadelphia won this game 25-20. I will tell you that Jalen Hurts did not have the best day.
And their defense just looked bad.
22 for 33, 170 yards, 1 touchdown. That's okay because he didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Kenneth Gainwell was their number 1 leading rusher, 14 carries for 54 yards. DeAndre Swift looking pretty good there in the backfield, 1 carry for 3 yards. Everybody trying to trade DeAndre Swift. There's a big middle finger for you. Love you, Kelly, but no.
I'll give you $1.
A.J. Brown, 7 receptions, 79 yards. Devontae Smith, 7 receptions for 47 yards, but Devontae got the touchdown. And also, Jalen Hurts, didn't he get a touchdown? I don't know who else got a touchdown. Was it defense?
Hold on.
Might have been a defensive touchdown.
got a touchdown, and defensive touchdown.
Yeah,
Probably.
might have been a defensive touchdown because I think
Darius Slay got a pick 6.
Ooh, Darius Slay got a pick 6. All right, so, I mean, that defense was pretty good. Moving on to the Patriots. Mac Jones threw the ball 54 times in the Bill O'Brien offense. We've kind of called this. We said Bill O'Brien's going to help Mac Jones. Mac Jones, 35 for 54, the most thrown passes of the day. 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not a bad day for Mac Jones. Zeke was the second leading rusher, but had the most yards. 7 for 29, 4.14 yards per carry. And then Ramondre had 12 carries for 25 yards. And then Ty Montgomery got 1 carry for 7 yards.
That's just Ramondre Stevenson did not look good in this game.
Ramondre Stevenson did because he was the second best receiver. Kendrick Bourne was the first best receiver, 6 for 64, and then Ramondre was 6 for 64 on 6 receptions, 6 targets.
How'd Juju do?
Juju, is he in on the 4 for 33? So 7 targets, he dropped 3 passes.
That's bad.
That's a typical Steelers. That's
You should
Deontay.
have just, hey, look what Jacoby Myers did.
Tayshaun Boutte, the rookie, had 4 targets and 0 receptions. That's not good.
No, that is not good at all.
Hunter Henry's their tight end, 5 for 56 with the touchdown.
That's good.
So that's good. Gesicki did get 3 for 36 on 3 receptions. So they are using both tight ends now.
They did say they were going to. We're going to see the same thing in tonight's game with the Bills.
So I mean, this was a pretty good matchup. And actually, it's really good to see that the Patriots, who have a decent team every year because of coaching, step up and really compete with the Philadelphia Eagles, who only won by 5 in this game. So I was kind of impressed with that. Moving on, I think there's one more game of the night. Oh, there's 2 more.
No, you got the Rams and you got the Cowboys.
Yeah,
the Cowboys real quick. There wasn't much there on one side of the ball.
That's a joke. There wasn't much there. All right, we'll do the Cowboys really quick.
It was all Dallas this game, 100%.
So Daniel Jones had no passes. He had no touchdowns. He had no interceptions. No, I'm just kidding. Daniel Jones was 15 for 28, 104 yards. Oh, my God, he was better than Joe Burrow.
But he had 2 interceptions.
He had 2 interceptions. He might be worse than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow threw the ball 86 yards.
Yeah, I told you. His longest reception was 12 yards. It's a hard chase.
Tyrod Taylor went 2 for 2 and 6 yards. So they had a total of 110 yards passing. Saquon, 12 for 51. Both running backs who were on franchise tags got paid and had okay days.
What a surprise.
Not looking good. Daniel Jones had almost as many rushing yards as Saquon Barkley. Man, if he didn't turn the ball over, he'd actually had good fantasy stats.
Yeah, receiving, you had Darren Waller, 3 receptions.
Darren Waller's the number 1 receiver on the team.
Yeah, and then Isaiah Hodgins had 1 reception for 24 yards.
Yeah, let's just discount that game for them because Dallas's defense, bro. Dallas's defense said, you see me now?
Pick 6, fumble for a touchdown. I think punt return for a touchdown as well.
Let me see if I can find. Can I find the touchdowns? Okay, so you have Deron Bland, tackle for loss, and then you had a touchdown, and then I only see 1 touchdown. Although it is funny, let me go to that real quick. So Dak Prescott, not so good. 13 for 24, 143 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Cooper Rush actually stepped on the field for 1 snap and did not complete the pass. Tony Pollard. Proved me wrong. 14 for 70. He had a very good day, 2 touchdowns. So Tony Pollard actually had a very good day. Kevontae Turpin, 3 carries, 14 yards, and a touchdown. Deuce Vaughn, the rookie, 6 carries for 8 yards.
And you had Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowdle.
Dowdle?
6 for 24.
Never heard of that guy. I'll be honest. I don't know who he is.
I think they're just running everybody. CeeDee Lamb had an okay day, 4 for 77. That's just as good as Jalen Waddle. Brandon Cooks, 2 for 22. And Tony Pollard, 2 for 12. That's about it on that offense.
Tony Pollard was the offense for this team.
CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard were the 2 guys on this team.
If you look at their offense compared to their defense, their defense is the reason they were so dominant in this game. 100%.
So, to Dak, you didn't throw an interception.
But you're average.
You didn't throw an interception, but Mac Jones outperformed you.
And so did Brock Purdy.
That is funny. All right, let's move on to the LA at Seattle. LA walked away with this one without even looking back, 30-13 over the Seattle Seahawks. this game, I know I saw a little bit on Kenneth Walker. It's about all I saw in this game. But Matt Stafford was perfect. 24 for 38, 334 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kyren Williams ran the ball more than Cam Akers.
I think that's telling right there.
52 yards. Cam got 7 more carries and only got 29 yards. But both these guys had the touchdowns. 3 touchdowns between these guys alone.
Yep. And then you turn to their receiving.
If you're paying attention, just an FYI, Tutu Atwell, 6 receptions for 119 yards. Puka Nacua, 10 receptions for 119 yards. Tyler Higbee.
Targets for Puka Nacua.
Yeah, apparently he's the guy. I go pick up Van Jefferson, and he's not the guy. They said he was number 1. I think it's going to change. People are going to start covering Puka Nacua. He's actually a really big-bodied receiver when I looked at him. He's 6'2", 205.
Steve liked him.
Yeah, he's a really good receiver. They're setting this team up for a quarterback they drafted, and I know Ryan wants to say it, but Stetson Bennett is primed to walk into this offense with a lot of practice. So I think
he'll be 30 by the time that happens.
He's 26. That's funny. He's not as old as Brandon Whedon, so I can't talk.
He's only 2 years older
All right,
than I am.
Jumping into Seattle, Kenneth Walker is still the leading rusher with 12 carries, 64 yards. Zach Charbonnet had 3 carries, 11 yards. I just wanted to say it like that just to piss people off. Geno Smith, 16 for 26, 112 and a touchdown. We always said Geno was a game manager. Defense has to step up. If that defense doesn't step up, they're going to struggle winning games.
Did you see what Geno's mic'd up moments was when Aaron Donald was coming right down the middle? He said, "Oh my God," and he threw the ball away. It was hilarious.
No, I kind of want to watch it. I wish I would have had that today. DK, number 1 receiver on that team, 3 for 47. Another team without a receiver over 50 yards. This is just a disgusting week for receivers. Will Disley, their tight end, 2 receptions for 17 yards. Nobody had even over 5 catches in this game.
DJ Dallas, 1 reception for 14 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 3 receptions for 13 yards. Tyler Lockett, 2 receptions for 10.
Tyler Lockett should be out, right? I think that's an injury in this game. Or he maybe came back, but I think Tyler Lockett got injured in this game.
That wasn't on my list. I might have missed that one.
Yeah, you might have to look that one up. And then for everybody, we're going to...
Injury but made sure to mention that he does not have a knee injury. However, Pete Carroll did follow up saying it was the same knee that caused the Seahawks to rest him during training camp.
All right, so there might be a possibility Tyler Lockett sits out. You guys want to pay attention to that one. JSN is probably going to be the solid number 2, and then you're going to have Will Disley as probably the 3.
Yeah. So I just want to say one thing with some of these rookie wide receivers. If you're in like a 10-man or 12-man league, don't drop these guys. They're eventually going to get their touches and the reception. Go look at JJ's first 4 games of the season from his rookie year. It takes time, like you said.
On what you're saying, all of these guys, just an FYI, if you're in a dynasty league, if you are in a redraft league and you took a 12th or a 13th round flyer, or if you are in a keeper league and you took one of these guys in the 14th, 15th round, like I took Sean Tucker in the 15th round, you take a guy like that, you're not looking to play him right away.
No,
and if you're looking to play him right away, you better off move him or do something with him to try to keep him, because I'm going to tell you right now, these guys are going to have time on the field, which is going to help them improve. It's going to take at least 5 to 6 weeks before you see any type of change or production. There's people on the dynasty leagues that are still owning Sky Moore to this day, and it's 2 years later. So just pay attention. Don't move on. And hold on, one other thing. Ryan called me the other day and said, is it time to jump on Jahmyr Gibbs because he had a mediocre day? And I'm going to tell you right now, Jahmyr Gibbs was phenomenal on that Detroit Lions game. He had very few carries, but he was very efficient with every touch he had on the ball. And you can't give up on a guy like that. He will get the opportunities. Yeah. Whether a guy goes down or they need him in a crunch time, he's going to get the opportunities. And that goes for saying for a lot of these guys that most people drafted in the first 2 rounds of Dynasty or in the last 5 rounds of redraft leagues.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, so with a lot of these guys, you're going to feel like, okay, there's some guys on the waiver I want. You have your starting lineup. I understand that you want some depth, but like you said, you drafted these guys. Give them a couple weeks. Give them 4 to 5 weeks. Like I said, go back and look at JJ's rookie year. His first couple of weeks, he did not do that great. I had a guy in my league, JJ's first year, that dropped him after drafting him, I think after week 3. and he blew up, and he really
Week
regretted
6.
it. Yeah. So
I dropped him.
It's gonna take a couple. It's gonna take a couple.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, oh, let's move on to this guy. Just don't be quick to like just let these guys go.
I was so salty.
Someone's gonna pick them up.
I'm still salty from it.
I would be too, because I mean that.
But it was before we were Dynasty. It was the year before we were Dynasty.
Dynasty. If you drop the guy and he blows up, it hurts a lot more.
I am. So there's reasons I have Evan Hall still on my taxi squad because I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. That being said, I think that's all we have for you today. If you guys have any questions, I tried to give you at least one guy to go look out for. Puka Nacua should already have been picked up by most teams because they announced it.
Yeah, and then real quick, who do you take in the night?
So
I'm gonna take the Bills.
I have the Jets, only because the Bills' defense is old and sloppy, and I didn't see any improvements on the Bills' offense. Okay. They are way too entrusting of James Cook, who hasn't ever averaged over 4.5 yards a carry.
What's your predicted score? I say Bills 24, Jets 21.
I would say 28-21 Jets. I just after this week, I don't trust myself with guessing. So
it's gonna be a one possession game.
I do have like Garrett Wilson starting in a couple like daily fantasies, and then I have like my quarterback today is Josh Allen. My receivers are Garrett Wilson, I think Stephon Diggs, and then I have running back. I think I took Dalvin Cook.
I think will out carry majority of that room.
Yeah,
rushing or that running back room.
Yeah, and then I think
because you're not going to hurry Breece Hall back by any means.
I think my flex. I don't remember. I have a daily fantasy for today.
You still have Alan Lazard there, who has...
Lazard might have been my flex. That was my flex.
So I know you were hyping him up a little bit this week.
Well, it's the chemistry.
Yeah, it's the chemistry. What I was about to say. Yeah. He has the only chemistry on that team besides
Randall Cobb could be. Yeah, I would say Randall Cobb could be. He's number 3 receiver.
Outside of that, you have Garrett Wilson, who, I mean...
Garrett Wilson I see having 110 yards.
Yeah, him and Aaron Rodgers actually have a handshake. I saw it during training camp. But, I mean, it was weird seeing Aaron the way he acted this year. But I think
I can't wait to see this game.
Yeah, I think this is going to be, a very fun game to watch outside of the games that we watched this weekend, specifically yesterday. So, I mean, don't be surprised if it's a very tight scoring game back and forth.
Yep. And just an FYI, I have the Jets in 3rd place in their division since the Dalvin Cook signing. So
I think I have
them winning, and I still have them in the 3rd place.
I think I have the Bills at 3rd.
Yeah, I think you have the Jets in 1st now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dalvin Cook signing is a turn-off to me.
I'm a Bills fan. I'm a Browns diehard
Don't
fan.
trust my division rankings for that division because the Dalvin Cook signing was such a turn-off for me.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'll put the Patriots in 1st at this point.
They look good.
You know Miami's going to be in 1st in that division. 466 yards.
Now if Tyreek or Tua goes down, they're really screwed then.
No, I think they're fine if Tyreek goes down and Tua can't. Jalen's good. Jalen will step up.
Oh, yeah.
So... And then you got Smythe Durham, man, the tight end. He's looking good. All right, that being said, like you said tonight, I got Jets, you got Bills. We'll have a slap face conversation on Thursday. Loser gets to get a good smack in the face. We'll see how this goes.
How fair that is.
Let's see how this goes. I got a little more weight behind mine. So that being said, we will see you guys at 6:00 on Thursday before the game time. That game is also the Minnesota Vikings at the Eagles. We'll probably have some pick'ems for you in that game, and then we will get into that game too. So good luck tonight, guys, and have a wonderful day.
Have a good week. Later.